Right, good morning. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Um, I'm going to be talking about Kum Nye, which is a Tibetan yogic practice. And over the last 2 days, we've been practicing, a small group of us. And I was here about little more than a year back, and we did a workshop at that time. So there is a sense that there's a body of practice here. We're starting to practice here. And I don't have to treat this group as beginners. But even if you're here for the first time, I will explain the practices, explain this art in a way that is understandable to everybody. So, having said that, Kum Nye is a Tibetan word. It's two words actually, Ku and Nye. Ku is a word for body. There are two words in Tibetan for body, Ku and Lu. Lu is the physical body, the one you normally think of as the body. Ku is the body of energy or the embodiment, or it's all of the things that make you up, your thoughts, your emotions, your energy. So we are going to be working with the Ku. Kum Nye. Nye means massage or a way of touching. So we're going to be massaging the Ku, the body of energy, which is interesting thought. How do you touch this? What happens when you touch it? What happens when you massage it? So that sounds a little esoteric, so I want to put it in more ordinary words. And one way to think of it is that everything you do, every event in your life, every thought that passes through your mind, every emotion that comes up, leaves a trace in your body. What does that mean? You know that when you get anxious or worried, your shoulders move up in a particular way when you get stressed. And you may have noticed that sometimes, and some of us, our shoulders stay here. They don't come down. And then you can take a simple example where you're driving in the snow. We got ice on the roads, and you're holding the steering wheel a little tightly. Shoulders a little tight. You're not even sure you'll get here in time. So clearly all of you got here safely and in time. But sometimes, well, not sometimes, most of the time, that tension that was there is still in your body. Your shoulders sometimes don't come down. They stay there for some time. That is a trace in your body. Interesting. So you're leaving traces in your embodiment, in your musculature, in your nervous system, in the way your organs function. And I said that every single event, every single thought, every single action leaves a trace in your body. Maybe a small trace, maybe a big trace. So that also means the traces can come from yesterday, from 5 minutes ago. It can come from 10 years ago, from 20 years ago. So you may have traces in your embodiment that are coming from a long time back, and some of them you don't know how to unravel it. Okay, shall I tell you how to do it? So Kum Nye is a way of going straight into the body, going to those places of tensions, deep patterning that are there for a long time, and in a way releasing the energy that is locked in those patterns. And when you release that energy, the pattern itself can unwind. Sometimes the pattern will come back, but not as so strongly. So And this is interesting because when you go to a pattern and unwind it or release it, and you go to a pattern, sometimes you don't even know where these patterns are. So you're really you have to have a way of getting to these places, finding them. And when you get to these patterns and release them or unwind them, sometimes they go away, never to come back. Sometimes simply because you get into your car again and your hands go tighter on the steering wheel, they come back. So this is ordinary life. Things work that way. We got to take it as they are. But what's interesting is when you release the patterns in your embodiment, it doesn't care how they came to be. They are released. So you don't have to go back into the past and find out how it came together. You almost do an end run around your thought process, which tells you many stories about why you are this way and why you always do things this way. And patterns just release. So that's kind of, I sometimes feel it's like cheating. But I think we should cheat and get rid of it. So here we come to the crux of the practice. How do you do this? And I will describe to you and lead you through some practices that will give you a sense of how this can come about. And I'm going to give the instructions in such a way that I know that this is being recorded, so you can actually go back to the record and listen to it again and practice with it. I'll keep the instructions very clear and separate from the talk itself. So, and I'm also going to pause. In the talk itself, I will take a break for questions, and then we'll talk again and practice again, and then again open up for questions. And the reason I'm going to do that is as you do these practices, you become very relaxed and your mind stops running. So at the end of the talk, when I ask you, do you have any questions? You don't want to ask any questions. You're good. And by the time I'm gone, you have all these questions. So we'll ask the questions in between and ask the questions at the end also. So the way Kum Nye works, one could actually say the Kum Nye practices are couched in the traditional practices and traditional way of looking at the body and mind. And when today the word mindfulness is very popular, you keep seeing it in many articles, people talk about it. The word mindfulness and the practice of mindfulness is very old in the Buddhist practice. And there are 4 foundations of mindfulness: the mindfulness of body, mindfulness of feelings, mindfulness of mind, and mindfulness of phenomena or mental events, one could say. Kum Nye works with and covers mindfulness of body and mindfulness of feelings. So now that we know which domain we are working with, we are going to be working with the body and the feelings. And when I say feelings, I really mean sensations, not emotions. And I'll continue to use the word feelings as meaning sensations. And when I mean to say emotions, I will say emotions, so it's clear. So we work with the sensations in the body, and we always have sensations in the body. So take a moment and tune into your body, and you will notice sensations in many places in your body. Anybody without sensations? Can't find them? No, all of you got sensations. Some of those sensations feel good. Some of them you don't like. You would like them gone. Some of them are kind of neutral. You don't really care. So one could say the sensations fall, your attitudes towards the sensations can be positive. It feels like a positive sensation. It can be negative, or it can be neutral. The positive is the ones that you like, negative is the ones you don't like, and neutral is actually really not neutral. Neutral are the ones you don't care about. That also is an attitude. In Kum Nye, we try to tune into the sensations. We tune into the sensations and let go of the labels. So go back to a sensation in your body, anywhere in your body, and just take a look at it. In a very ordinary way, we are not doing anything special. And you will find that, yes, you got a label, whether it's positive or negative. And you probably got more than that going on. You probably got an entire story behind it. Especially if it's a painful sensation, you have a whole story as to, oh, when I was a kid, I fell down and that's why my knee still hurts. Especially when it rains, it hurts a lot. And it's a problem. I can't even sit down on a cushion. See how that sensation become an entire drama. All your sensations do this in some form or the other. So that's the bigger labels attached to it. But the first label is, I like it, or I don't like it. Go to your sensation, pick a sensation, go to that sensation and notice the sensation without the label. It's very interesting to notice the sensation without the label. Sometimes it feels quite different. Sometimes you sense a lot of layers of sensation that you never noticed before. Sometimes you're taken aback, you realize that since that sensation is so rich and varied. Then you notice that the sensation doesn't stay still, it will move and change. No sensation stays still. Then you notice that that sensation may be provoking other sensations in other parts of the body. A lot going on. Just taking the label away opens up an entire universe of experience. So that's what we do in Kum Nye as we work with the sensations. So we're going to take a moment and settle into a practice. It's a sitting practice. There's no movement in this practice. Many of the Kum Nye practices are movement practices. This one is just a sitting practice, but we are going to work with the sensations in the body. So just get comfortable, nothing particular. We're not meditating or anything. We're just sitting. And as you're sitting, take your awareness to the top of your head, the hair on the top of your head. Relax the hair on the top of your head. That doesn't make sense, but just do it. Relax the hair on the top of your head, and then relax the skin on the top of your head. As you relax the skin on the top of your head, sensations arise from the relaxation. Notice those sensations as though you can taste them. Take your awareness a little lower into the bone on the top of your head. Can you relax the bone on the top of your head? What kind of sensations arise when you relax the bones on the top of your head? Do sensations arise in other places when you do that? Maybe behind your eyes? Go down further through your head, over your forehead, onto your eyebrows. Relax your eyebrows. As you relax your eyebrows, Taste the sensations from the relaxation. Go on to your eyelids, your upper eyelid. Relax the outer skin on your eyelid. Relax the inner skin on your eyelid, the one that touches your eye. Wow, it's really interesting. Very interesting sensations come up. They have no names. Don't give them names. Can you relax your eyelashes? Especially the point where the eyelash comes into the eyelid. It's almost fascinating what kind of feelings come up. Relax the eye itself. The surface of the eye, go inside the eye. Go to the back of the eye. Are sensations coming in other places when you relax the eye? If you're starting to enjoy yourself, don't hold back now. Go down through your head. Into the sinuses behind your cheekbones. Relax them. Taste the sensations from that. Now we're going to go a little quicker in the interest of time. Actually, you should go through this really slowly the way we are going now, through your entire body. All the way to your toenails. Going down to your mouth, the roof of your mouth. Relax the bone in the front of the roof of your mouth. Relax your teeth, your gums, your upper lip. Relax your tongue as it goes down into your throat. Sense the tissue at the floor of your mouth. Can you relax that? Your salivary glands under your tongue. And let's go a little quicker. Let's go down into the throat, inside the throat. Soften your throat. And move through the throat into the torso, to your heart, to your lungs. Into your belly, upper belly. Very different feel in the upper belly, very different from the chest. Go down lower into the middle belly, towards the front of the belly, towards the back of the belly, and then go further down to the lower belly, almost down into your pelvis. Relax there. What are the sensations there? What is the quality of relaxing? What are the sensations that come when you relax there? And then you find some places don't relax. That's okay. Just go around them. The heart of this practice is tasting the sensations that come from the relaxation. And let's just relax our entire arms, our legs, the palms of your hands. soles of your feet, the top of your foot, the bones inside your ankles, the bones inside your wrist. Relax your toes, relax your toenails. What is the sensation when you relax your toenails? And just simply sit for a moment. And gently come out of it. I'm going to pause here for a moment and just ask you all, how did that go? What happened? Any interesting experiences? Any surprises?
I got one thing I'd like to share if I could.
Yes.
I've got a pin of steel stuck in my arm, my right foot in operation. And I tried to never focus on it well under seconds. Pain becomes so intense sometimes that it does bother me. But I'm required to work every day. And sitting here, I try to not focus on it and sit here for a moment. But it doesn't notice my body. Always wants to do that. That's not I suppose what I'm trying to say is by not kind of giving it, I made it seem to change it for a moment. Never thought about that. Because I still like it with my toe.
Right. Right. Yeah. Hurt and pain are interesting labels, especially when they are strong pain. It's very hard to stop seeing it as, I mean, it is pain, it hurts. There's no way around it.
It stands up at the toe, and I get it all the time. So
Yeah.
it quickly reminds me of how much pain you need attention.
Yes.
I don't like it. It's just pain. It's kind of
Yeah. Yeah. This is, pain is a strong sensation. It is a strong label also. And sometimes when you work with these practices, it's easier to discover how to work with it when you start with a less intense sensation. And find your way into finding out how to work with a more intense sensation. We got to take this one small step at a time. Yeah, yeah.
I was once told by a good friend of mine, pain can hurt his friend. Sometimes I believe it's always there. It doesn't let you down.
That's a way of looking at it.
I don't really fear pain.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't enjoy it.
yeah,
It's something you got to deal with.
yeah. Let's hear some other experiences also. Pain itself can be good, but anything else? Or any other insights that have come? Anything interesting?
I should have warned you, this is a very shy group on Sundays.
That's why I'm poking them.
Yeah.
Hey, say something. Yeah, there's a hand there.
I suppose that's kind of thing, and I saw it like a bird, like we could renew, like the bird to be represent the spirit. So it's relaxing, it's indicative of, trying to renew your spirit.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. I don't have any particular insight on that. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Any questions on doing the practice itself? Yeah. Right, right. Yeah, yeah. I think what I said was if you're enjoying yourself, continue enjoying yourself, or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah. So this is a very, you can do this later. Explore in that same slow way all the way through your body. Go inside your knees, inside the bones, and you're not looking for pain. You're just going for sensations, and you're going and trying to relax those places. And then you are tasting the sensation that comes from the relaxation. And it's not even about relaxation, it's about the sensation that comes from relaxation. So it's a little subtly different move. Okay. Oh, yeah, good. It's a play on words. I want to evoke your sense, a different sense, to make you touch the sensation differently. One could say I'm using the words poetically rather than scientifically. Yeah. Because sensations have a taste, if you will, you know. That taste, yeah, that tasted sharp. That tasted very soft, you know. Yeah. Yeah.
Exercise that there was maybe a sensation of tightness in a particular part of my body or this. I didn't feel like necessarily I was holding on to that. It was just a sensation that I felt like I was experiencing. I didn't really associate it with relaxing. Things feel relaxed.
Yeah.
Felt tight.
Yeah.
Or hard.
Yeah.
So it's when you come to a point like that.
You will come to a point like that. You will come to many points where there is a hardness to it. And you come to other points where it just relaxes the moment you ask it to. When you come to a point of hardness to it, you have to give it time. It's almost like it's got a shell around it that you can't get through. So you stay on the surface of the shell, just sensing what is there just as it is. And the touch of your awareness over time starts to melt that shell. It's a hard shell. Sometimes it doesn't let you in. But don't look at it that it won't let you in. As you continue to stay with it, even the shellness of it will change its quality, because nothing stays the same. Everything changes. It's simply touching on it will change the feel of that. And you don't know what's underneath, so you just wait. It's almost, that's when the quality of patience comes in. You just wait, and you know that it cannot stay that way. Something starts to move. And sometimes you have to go around it, go to other places, and then come back to it. And when you come back to it, it may be different. It may be somebody else. So, yeah. They're not that shy. So that's how you, in principle, that's how you do the Kum Nye practices. And then you do movement practices, you do visualizations, you also do actual massages of different parts of the body. But the heart of it is to tune in to sensations in this way by letting go of the labels. And then the practice starts to open up. It almost gives you access to your body, your embodiment in a particular way. During the workshop, keeping an eye on the time here, during the workshop there was a question as to how do you practice? Because it seems like when I do this practice, I have to follow my sensations all the time. I have to be doing something. That seems like, well, that's a lot of work. I'm getting tense simply following my sensations. So I started to respond to that as to how do you do a practice. And then I decided maybe I should respond to that in this audience because it is useful to a larger audience, because that is a question that also applies not just to Kum Nye, it applies to just sitting in meditation. How do you practice? What is the secret behind it, one could say. In Kum Nye, there's a particular instruction, a way of setting up the instructions that tells you how to practice. And in simple words, it says that instead of doing the practice, let the practice do itself. What does that mean? So there's a simple practice where your arms come to the side, they go all the way up above your head, and they come back again. One could do that practice by saying, okay, I got to put my hands here, then I got to raise my hands here, then they go up. Okay, they're right. That looks right. Then they go up. Okay, I'm doing the practice quite well. It feels good. And then your hands go all the way up and, oh, I'm halfway through the practice. Good, good. I know how to do this practice. And then your arms start to come back down and say, then your mind goes and says, how long am I supposed to do this? It's taking a lot of time. And then your arms continue to come down and then your arms are down. So any practice you do this, would you say this happens? Your mind just comes in. Oh, wow, your audience is very responsive. They're all saying yes. Yes, your mind does this. And we know it does it. Do you notice that your mind does this with everything you do? And I'll actually identify what your mind is doing. This is your... there are many parts of your mind that there's this monitor that comes up and says, is observing how you're doing this. And this is a simple movement. Your arms just go up and come down. Your monitor comes up and says, let me check on how you're doing it. I need to keep on top of this, otherwise you won't do it properly. And yeah, you might be doing it properly, so then it tells you, oh, good job. Or it'll tell you, not quite right, you're going a little too fast. I think you should slow down a bit there. And then you slow down. And then you check in again, did you slow down enough? So what are you doing now? Are you practicing or are you telling yourself how to practice? Most of it is conversation, not conversation, this checking on how you're practicing and then making sure it's right. But let's say you don't do that and practice is going pretty well. So now practice is going really well. Things are happening. Now you want to understand what's happening. So now your mind is getting in and telling you, oh, that's cool. Man, I read about this at that time, that this is going to happen. The instructor told me this will happen. Now it's happening. Great. And then you start to interpret what's happening. So your mind is getting in the way of the practice. Your mind is getting in the way of everything you do. It thinks it's helping. You think it's helping, but do you really need help to get your hands all the way up and come back down? No. So I will guide you through a practice, just a sitting practice, where I will give you instruction on how not to do this. And no special instructions. I'll just tell you don't do it as much as you can. But, someone reminding you not to do it actually helps you to relax on the doing of it. It really won't stop, but it slows down a bit. So I'm actually going to read the instructions from a different book called Joy of Being, which is also a Kum Nye book. And So just settle down to sitting. And since I'm reading, you can go and find the passage later and look at it and read it to yourself. So just get comfortable in your sitting posture. Let your mind and body become quiet. Let go of internal dialogues, reminders, and other kinds of mental noise. So now here's the trick. There is no need for instructions, no need to remember, and no need to monitor what is happening. So you have no instructions now. You don't have to remember anything. You don't even have to check if you're doing it right. You have no instructions. Thoughts may come up. Thoughts may come up. They may cycle through your mind. But if you pay no attention to them, they will fade into the background. Like a TV program or radio program that you're not interested in and you forgot to turn it off. Let go of the urge to understand. Let go of the urge to interpret. Simply follow the sense of feeling as it arises. Let it reveal what the present is offering. And gently come out of it for a moment. So I said some fairly radical things. I said there is no need for instructions, no need to remember, and no need to monitor. And that I mean in a particular way. Yes, you do need instructions. If you're supposed to do a practice where your arms go above your head, somebody has to tell you how to do it. Tell you to do it. But once they tell you to do it, do you need instructions again? You don't need any more instructions. So there's no need for instructions. As you're practicing, there's no need for instructions. Once you start the practice, you don't need instructions. Instructions are before. There is no need to remember. Do you have to remember how to do this? No. It's simple. Your mind will do it. Your body will do it. And there's no need to monitor. Are my hands above me? Of course they are above you. You don't need to check on that. Okay, so I want to pause here again. Does that make sense? Can you actually not do this? It's a little odd, but it's quite doable. And it's also a surprising instruction. Instruction, if you will. I'm saying there's no instruction. You notice when you do this, you get so much more space. Because your mind gets out of the way, it's not telling you what to do anymore. It won't get out of the way very easily. It'll come back and tell you things. Does that sound right? Is your mind like that? It'll come back and tell you things. So when it comes back and tell you things, don't ask it to shut up. It won't. It'll tell you things even louder. So what do? Don't pay attention to it. As though it's a radio program in the next room, you forgot to turn it off. You're just droning on. You're not particularly paying attention to it. And then when you don't feed that energy, it fades out and doesn't say much. You want to try that for half a minute, a minute. No instructions. Nothing to do. Nothing to remember. If your mind starts to speak, don't pay attention to it. Okay, gently come out of that. So that is the instruction on how to practice. The kind of contradictory instructions, but they work. So I'm going to pause here again for a moment for anything you want to share, any insights you got from playing with that, or any questions. I see some curious looks on faces. Ah, people are too relaxed. They've fallen asleep also. This actually happens quite often in Kum Nye classes. Just fall asleep. You do get really relaxed. It's you start to yawn, you sometimes burp because everything relaxes. But what do you think of this instruction where I'm telling you there are no instructions? And I mean it in a particular when you're in the practice, there are no instructions. Yes, I got many hands going up. Okay.
It's nice to hear that as actually you telling us that.
Yeah.
I heard that before sometime I had that idea when we meditate, but just hearing it gives us at least more self-confidence.
Yeah, you're right. It's actually good to hear this because it tells you, oh yeah, that's a way of doing it. Yes. I saw some hands there. Same thing. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It frees the mind. It gives you space in the mind now. Yeah, and then things start to happen. Yeah. I'm not sure I'm understanding the question. Yeah. Yeah, right. Right, yeah. So for the recording, I should probably repeat that, but I can't quite repeat that. You said it better than I could, and I'm not able to quite say it back. So another metaphor is in the same to come at this topic from another angle. Another metaphor is that sometimes you're in meditation and your mind becomes so still. It's like seeing your face reflected in a still pond. So then you want to touch the face to make sure it's actually there, right? You great meditation, just make sure it is, so that I can tell myself later that I meditated well. So you go and touch the face in the water. What happens? The meditation is disturbed. So these instructions are telling you ways of how not to disturb the meditation. So when you have an experience, you don't need to touch it. The moment you touch it, you disturb the experience. So this is not just for meditation, it's almost for everything. You see a beautiful sunset or a beautiful sunrise. What do you say? You look at the person next to you and say, isn't that a beautiful sunrise? It's almost as though it didn't become real until both of you said it's beautiful. No, it was there. It was always real. It was more real before you said anything. The moment you said it, you packaged it and made it into a sunrise. It wasn't even a sunrise, it was just beauty. So this applies not just to meditation, it applies to many, many aspects of your life, and you should start to look into parts of your life. You wake up in the morning, if you drink coffee, you had your first sip of coffee. And then you tell many things. Oh, now I'm waking up, the coffee tasted good. Before all that, there was the taste of coffee which had no words. No need to, or one could say, no need to report to anybody, even to yourself, what happened. That's a disturbance. So your life may get a lot more space when you do this. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So I'm almost at the end of my time. Actually, I'm past the end of my time. And just like in the way I was giving you the instructions, no need to remember, I have nothing more to say. Anything more I say becomes more material for your mind to elaborate on. There's no elaboration here. We're done. So I'm going to bring this. I'm going to ask again. After any other questions, I will respond, and then I'll bring it to a close. Anything else comes to mind? Yes. The yellow book is got. This book was written for people who don't have instructors. So it's very, very well written, very carefully written. The first half of the book, which is just says preparation and introduction, it's worth reading just to read it. It's worth reading more than once. It really presents a lot of what I talked about in a much more beautiful way. And just listening or sensing the sound of the words coming into you alone will get through. Then, as you go through them, all the exercises have numbers. You can straight go to an exercise and read it and try it out. You can also, the early parts of the book give you a sense of how to engage the practice, how to actually do the practice. And I think the fundamentals I already told you. Let go of the labels and go into the sensations. That is enough for you to pick up any practice from the book and actually experiment. And the instructions are quite clear. It will tell you, do the practice 3 times. At the end of the practice, sit for 5 minutes. So you just do that. You don't know what's going to happen, so you simply do it the first few times. And then your body starts to tell you more things that you didn't know. So I would say keep it completely simple. Read the practice, do it as it says you should do it, sit at the end of it. Let the experience open up, and the way you should do it is, this is not in the book, this is me saying it. You should do it like a tourist. What do you mean, like a tourist? Well, if you go to, I come from Berkeley or near San Francisco, it's a tourist place. So if you go to San Francisco to Fisherman's Wharf, you can very easily make out who are the tourists because they are so interested. They're pointing at things, they're looking here, they're going everywhere, and everything is a surprise, everything is interesting. They don't know what's coming across the next corner. A person who is not a tourist there, you can make out who's not a tourist. He's not looking at anything. His eyes are like this. He's going where he's going. I want you to be a tourist. Notice everything. Be ready to be surprised. Even if you've done the practice many times, it is never the same. Why is it never the same? When you do the practice once, it changes your body and your mind. When you did this practice once where you were coming through the body and just relaxing and going through, that's practice number 3 in this book, by the way. I think. Is it 3? Tasting relaxation. It's in the book, huh? The first time you do it, when you do it once, you have actually changed. Places in your body have changed. Your mind is starting to respond differently. So the second time you do it, it's a different person doing it because you have changed. How can it be the same practice? It cannot be. Or to go back to that sunset that I mentioned, when you look at a sunset, you could look at it and say, oh, it's just a sunset. No. In all eternity, there'll never be another sunset like that. That's how you should look at it. Or to put it in easy terms, be a tourist. That's how you use the book. This is a tourist, this is a tour guide. Okay. If nothing else comes to your mind, I can bring this to a close. So let's just take a moment, dedicate any merit that came from our discussions, the listening to the talk, doing the practices, and dedicate that merit to all sentient beings. And there is a closing gesture we do in Kum Nye, and simply watch me and follow along. So that's great. I will be around for some more time. So if you want to grab me, a question pops up into your mind that didn't pop up right now, you can catch me later. Thank you.